everyone. Welcome back to the next episode of our 98 Dots podcast. I'm Yana.
I'm Deepti. Welcome, Yana. We're back.
We're back, guys.
We are back. It's taken a little bit of time for us to get back. We've had some things that came in the way, and Yana will get you up to speed.
Yeah, we kind of disappeared, but not on purpose. It was more, now it's just kind of like a plot twist, We're coming back stronger.
It was a pause.
Yeah.
Why did we have a pause, you think?
We were
Lots has happened.
Yeah, a lot of things have happened. We moved. School's gotten really busy, especially AP season coming up.
NIB.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've just been kind of busy in the works lately.
So we disappeared because you had AP, we moved, we had some stuff going on from October to December. We kind of were learning how to set some boundaries. We were learning, we were recalibrating.
Yeah.
So Yana, how's school been?
It's going good. It's very busy and stressful, but it's good.
What classes are you taking?
Taking IB chemistry.
Yeah.
Taking the regular LA, AP World History, and Spanish.
What's the hardest one right now?
IB chemistry for sure. It's
Why?
a tough subject. It's very calculated and you have to be very analytical for that class. Like, it's really hard.
I have to say, I met your teacher at curriculum night, and he was the sweetest.
Yeah. He's a very good teacher, but the subject itself is kind of hard to grasp.
Yeah. And what's your second hardest class?
Probably Spanish. I'm good at language learning, but it's kind of hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
I don't know anything you and your sister speak.
Yeah.
Anyway, so not are we just back, we have a whole new idea that we want to present here with the podcast. We kind of want to surprise you guys eventually what we're planning to do, but I think slow and steady, we want to just make sure that we are putting out the right content for the right age group, for making sure that there is some empowerment going on for teenagers and parents. There is also creating boundaries. There's meeting teachers and coaches from different areas of life. Maybe we want to just like do a blend of things where we can push a lot of the ideas that we've sort of had in the last 5 months and test it out to see how you would feel. What do you think?
Yeah, we do have some big stuff coming up, and we just want to say like a thank you to everyone who's been here since day one, because it's come a long way for our podcast, and we're excited to just like throw out more things that are gonna be.
Thank you for your support. Please continue to support us. We're beginners here, so if you have any feedback, let us know. This is something that Yana has been passionate about because she's interested in understanding psychology as well as how the human brain works, and I'm nothing but just a simple support system for her. So if you have ideas, if you have topics, if you want to be on our podcast, you can DM us, and we'll make something happen. And the purpose of this podcast is to make sure that we are creating a safe space for everyone. We want everyone to feel like they can connect to a community, they can find a place where they have a voice. And moreover, I think with today's social media and how things are going, we just want to be more aware of the positivity we put out and how we navigate the negative.
Yeah. So moving on from that, we're going to dive into the episode for today. So
what are we talking about, Yana? What do you think we should start with today as our comeback episode?
I think we should just start with, kind of like catching up about why we've been gone, going more specific.
How specific do you want to get?
Yeah, we can get very specific. we've been like doing a lot while we've been gone. So maybe just
Okay, so let me ask you the first question. How would you describe the last few months? Because from my side, it feels like everything was, there's a saying that's, when it rains, it pours. And so for me, that's what I felt like. It's been a very, crazy few months. So tell me what you felt.
Honestly, it's kind of chaotic, and like I feel like we've both been kind of like on the grind, because it's like we're just like in the middle of the school year, we're moving, and there's all a bunch of stuff has been going on. So it's been kind of chaotic. I think that's the best word to describe it. And yeah.
Yeah, and so I think when school started September, the focus was like, hey, what we gonna do when it comes to tennis, when it comes to your IB program?
Mhm.
You're now in 10th grade, so what activities are we adding? What are we removing? Are there things that can help you sort of for your last 3 years in high school?
Mhm.
So I think that kind of took a complete, I would say the focus went
Yeah.
completely on that.
Mhm.
And then I think after Diwali is when health and boundaries and I don't know, there were some challenges
Mhm.
around, you know, people
Mhm.
and places, and so that kind of became a challenge for you more
Yeah.
than me. I
Yeah.
was again just a bystander, a supporter, and
Mhm.
fully trying to understand how you were feeling at that time and what was going
Yeah.
on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Agree.
What else can you add? What did you learn? Actually, that's a good way to sort of get into the segment is every time there are challenges, there is a learning curve.
Mhm.
So what did you learn from what occurred from October to December? More even January, I would say.
I kind of learned that like balancing like your emotions and like being able to like put yourself in a position where like you're able to like reclaim your mental health by asking for help, or like if you ever feel some sort of way, like communicating with people about it. I think that's like the biggest thing to learn, because if you don't communicate how you're feeling or what you're going through, then it'll never be like talked about.
So you were cornered a lot about
Hmm.
certain
Hmm.
things, and I will refrain from talking about what those things were. But, you know, some will say that you are a people pleaser, but and you yourself also kind of recognize that, and
Hmm.
it comes from trying to keep peace.
Hmm.
And then your boundaries were pushed. You were sort of a target to a lot of, like,
Hmm.
I would say, mental manipulation.
Yeah.
And so, what did you sort of learn from that, and how did you? I know you stood up for yourself. So, how did you do that? What made you stand up for
What
yourself?
made me stand up for myself was knowing, like, this might be sound cheesy, but like knowing my worth, and like knowing like how if you don't stand up for yourself, you'll never will, and
Mhm.
it'll just keep being the same. So you kind of have to like put yourself out there in order to like
Yeah.
get to where you want to be. Because if you don't put in work or you don't put in effort, you won't get any, like, you won't physically get anywhere that you
Or
want to be.
mentally,
Or
right? And
mentally.
also, it's not more so effort, in sort of effort, like, physical effort. This was
Yeah.
more sort of verbal
Verbal.
and
Yeah,
more
that's what I kind of mean.
mental.
Yeah.
It was more so you putting your foot down and saying enough is enough. And
Yeah.
I'm not someone who's naive, and I understand and I see things
Yeah.
clearly, and so you can't mess with me. And also, you were learning a lot of this stuff in school,
Yeah.
and so I think you kind of, maybe that was
Yeah.
why you were
Yeah.
sort
See,
of
like
able to
I'm
fit in.
like an observant person. If like even my friends know me as like
Yeah.
I probably won't say anything even if I know things are going on, but it's because I'm just waiting for like the silence to tell the truth, to speak its truth by itself. But there also comes to a point where you have to stand up for yourself, and I think even teens, it's kind of hard for that type of generation to like go through that and like have to actually use their voice. I think that's what a lot of teens are missing these days.
Yeah, that's true. It's putting love back into yourself, knowing your worth, which is what you mentioned,
Mhm.
which is great. And then also voicing how you feel. That's important because we talk about this so much, we never stick to it. And so when the moment you start talking about how you're feeling and what is going on, nobody can change that, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's literally the fact of how you're going through life, and that's
Mhm.
not okay for someone to dismiss your feelings.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of not kind of, but it's really disrespectful.
Yeah.
One more thing happened is we moved on February 1st. We decided to let go of, I would say, Yana Gia's second home from when they were born. And we left a beautiful home, a garden absolutely stunning. And that was very challenging, I would say. That, I mean, we've gone through almost a year of sort of coming to terms with that this is going to happen. We've had discussions on our own. We've sort of tried to figure out if we can save the home, but we couldn't. I'm a single mom, and living in Seattle and Bellevue area is not cheap. And so the decision comes from a sort of emotional, financial perspective. And so that, as a mom, I think that was hard for me because I was like, I can't save your last home
Yeah.
that you'll be in before gonna college. But then we found this beautiful home,
Yeah.
and we're surrounded by horses and donkeys and chickens and bees, and there's a full on farm
Yep.
here. And I think Nitro and Ziggy, our cat and dog, are also trying to figure it out in this home because it's a new space. Animals are most familiar with smell, and so they're not able to fully settle in just yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
How did you feel with the move?
I mean, it was definitely a transition. I mean, in the middle of the school year and everything, it was like you didn't really have that much time to process it. But I like the new transition. I like the house. I do miss the old house, and sometimes because it's kind of like you had a routine there, and I just switched to like a kind of different routine because the house is all different.
Yeah.
But I like it.
I mean, any change is hard,
Yeah.
and
It's hard.
any change is hard to not only accept, but to come to terms with that there's an ending, right?
Yeah.
So the ending for us is that we finally get to move on and start a new life from scratch without any ties, any attachment,
Mhm.
to how life is meant to be. And sort of, I think there's a stress factor around it too, is like you're constantly on eggshells thinking like, if I'm going to find a new place, or what happens if you were
Yeah.
to, leave mid-year.
Yeah.
And so that stress was
Yeah.
that was a lot. But I'm glad you said that because you were so busy with school. And of course, I handled, I would say, 99%
Yeah.
of the move.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna come to, like the challenges for you with the
Yeah.
move because I know you're the one handling all the financial stuff. You're the one trying to figure out where we're trying to move. I'm kind of like there, like I think I have definitely more time to process it than you did because
Yes.
you're like trying to figure out, hey, how do I move two kids from one house to another and two pets,
Yeah. And while that was happening, of course, we put the other house on the market. So the learning is it's not easy.
Hmm.
Everything that has happened at, I would say, 10x,
Yeah.
the labor, the mental overload,
Mm.
the psychological overload, the emotional overload. It is literally 10x. And I
Yeah.
remember the night before the move, it was raining, and I went into my garden and I just sat and I looked at the house from the other side, and just to get that connection, and feel like what part of this home, what did it teach me, and what part of it am I going to miss the most? And it was the garden.
Yeah.
It was literally the labor of love that I put in. I think we had over 60 to 80, I want to say, easily, roses. We had lilies, hydrangeas. I mean,
Greenhouse.
we yes, that was another one, was a greenhouse. I built a greenhouse there. So Yana G in the summer would go and pluck strawberries from inside and eat that. And we had lemons. We had everything. I mean, it was a massive garden. And I'm grateful for, that, because that home is where I learned that I have a green thumb. I never knew. I always thought I'm going to kill plants. Just like at one point I thought I can never have babies. And it was just this mental block I created
Mm.
without even trying. So the lesson for me was that until and unless I don't attempt something, I'm never going to learn whether it's a positive or a negative
Yeah.
for me. So I think the garden was the hardest to leave. Every stone, that the color, the combo, where it went, the placement of it, all was like so well articulated and picked. And
Yeah.
working with a landscaper, it was almost like your baby.
Yeah.
and like you have to just let go of your
Yeah.
baby.
I
And so
saw how
that was
much.
hard.
Yeah, I saw how much you like poured into that whole
Yes.
area. Like me and my sister were never into like the whole growing stuff, but then slowly as she started getting very interested in it,
Yeah.
we would come help her like water the plants, and we'd like help her learn about how to maintain the garden. And
Mhm.
like we also learned a bunch of skills, like lifelong skills that we never thought we would.
And then when you joined high school, what's the first class you took?
Plant-based design.
That's right.
Because I like
You
that.
did.
I liked it, honestly.
And now your sister's taking plant-based
yeah,
design.
and I'm taking horticulture.
There you go. So until and unless we wouldn't have attempted, like, even thinking about building this garden, we would never know that those are skills we actually have.
Yeah.
So what is the lesson again?
The lesson is that we are like learning,
Growing. Yeah.
growing and trying new things.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Trying to new things, and like you'll see that like eventually you have a purpose within those things and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I cannot be without flowers or plants in my house. And someday I'll post about the Fidel that has grown into an crazy tree. It's
Yeah.
the astronomical size of
It's
it is
huge.
just huge. It took 4 really big, tall, bulky men to move that entire planter. I have photos of that too. And some of it I posted, and some of it I was like, oh my God, I feel bad taking their video because they're struggling. And I'm just like, I was literally just stressing, okay? Because I'm like, don't break that plant, don't break the leaves. And then each time one leaf fell, they were like, we're sorry. We're sorry. And I was like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. But that was where I think the love started too, is picking something that I knew is gonna, it kind of was like an emotional healing for me.
Yeah.
Just going into the garden and resetting my nervous system. It literally would help my anxiety and calm me down from everything that was going on from the time we moved into that home up until, the end of, the previous chapter.
Yeah.
What else did you sort of learn from the move alone? Like, coming into this home, what are your thoughts now about this home and how you feel and what's going on?
I think I learned more like how to adjust, like from between like moving and like having to process with moving, and then having to like work really hard in school. I think it taught me like much about how to like balance everything
Yeah.
and give myself time
Yeah.
to like do one thing at a time, focus on one time and on that one thing at one time, and putting in like the quality of the work
Yeah.
of like processing things rather than jumping to a billion different things and then realizing you didn't get the results that you hoped. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So then what is something you struggled with? What was the biggest struggle from that home to this home, or navigating the change? Like, how would you if someone were to ask you, like, maybe because in the back of the head they're thinking about making a big change, how would you present that to them?
I think like the hardest thing for me was kind of like letting go of old routine, because I'm kind of like I'm very not bad with change, but it's very difficult for me to handle change. And I think that's something that I had to let go of. I had to let go of my old routine from the old house and how I did things there, and now I had to transition here. I think that's something that's really hard for me.
Yes.
And also the transition from 9th to 10th grade, like that was very hard. And like I'm taking an IB class now, and I kind of have to focus a lot more. So I think that kind of transition has like been very challenging.
I think you and I are very similar that way. We are a creature of habit. And so when someone takes us out of our element, to sort of re-routine ourselves becomes almost like very anxiety driven. And so I like things a certain way, you like things a certain way. And I also think it's because we're OCD by nature. Do we want everything a certain way?
As someone who like really like is very organized and particular about like, for example, the way I keep my room. I think that kind of translates into my personality, and that's why it's hard for me like transitioning. It's like I really want to make sure everything is the same way that it was. Like You know me, I like to close all bathroom doors for no reason. It just might have the way that my brain is wired, I feel like. I just like
Poor Ziggy.
everything. I just like everything specifically how it is, and I don't like it to change. So when it does change, it's kind of difficult for me.
So the thing that this move taught me was exactly what you're talking about. When you resist,
Mhm.
things will persist.
Mm.
Okay, that's really a saying. When you resist something, it's going to keep knocking on your door to tell you that the thing you're resisting the most is the thing you have to work on the most,
Yeah.
that you cannot let go of.
Mhm.
And I think for me, after having you and Gia, my OCD calmed down just a little bit. Not as
Yeah.
much, but a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I
And then as you grew up, and as I am, aging,
Mhm.
it is like it is something I cannot deny, I cannot change. It is what it is, right? You have to accept change.
Mhm.
You have to understand one thing: nothing is permanent in life,
Mhm.
and how you accept and navigate everything is going to be huge for whatever, like whatever life throws at you. You'll know exactly how to manage that entire way of being,
Yeah.
right? So it gets a little bit easier mentally.
Yeah.
So just don't resist.
Well, so one thing I did want to ask you was like, how did you feel about stepping away from the podcast? Like, and what do you think we're hoping to bring back?
I I think for me it was okay. I was getting a little bit like, oh, what happens to the statistics, the numbers, the data, the constant reposting, but it's okay. Like I'm not here to validate myself based on number of likes and comments and all of that. My if I've hit an audience of 10,
Yeah.
great. 20, great. 30, wow.
Yeah.
Like it's not the numbers as much as also what life has taught me is that taking these breaks is so important for your mental health. It's important to reset, recalibrate, and understand why we're doing what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree. And I think as teenagers, like the pressure of like, oh, let's get this number of likes, and like let's make sure that this is posted everywhere. Like it is about that, but it's mainly about the impact that we're showing to our
Right.
community, and that's
Right.
kind of why we're here to talk about these things is
Yeah.
because we want this to actually get the word. And one one like is good, but the amount of people we actually impact and actually change like how they think and like what like how they are getting impacted by us, that's kind of more of our purpose with this podcast.
Yeah, and I think the other question you asked was like what am I hoping to, do in the coming episodes
Yeah.
is the idea of now coming back is also like making sure every episode provides you with that comfort.
Yeah.
That to know that there will be many seasons and that we're here with you and here to navigate, here to help you overcome these challenges and maybe have a listening ear. And like I said, if ever you decide that there's a topic you want to talk about, let's put you and Yana in front of the camera and go for it. This is an open platform. We want to bring some inspiring coaches and parents and moms and kids that want to show that they have also overcome obstacles. They have also come far in life, and it's not going to be an easy journey now that you're going to go towards 11th grade in September. It's one of the most challenging times for parents as well as kids. Why? Because you're literally trying to do anything and everything to make sure that your applications for colleges are looking spectacular. We live in a very competitive area. Every student is doing something absolutely fabulous and jaw dropping. Like you would think, oh my god, I'm not enough and I'm not doing enough. And I think even navigating these last few months, just talking to your counselors and talking to other parents, we as parents can be the support system and the guidance, but you alone have to also accept that you cannot tap into every area. As long as you make an impact on a few things, it's important that you start sort of also understand your worth and how much you can give. The rest is your luck, it's destiny, your hard work with grades, all of it counts. There's no one way to make this sort of a playbook for anyone.
Yeah.
Can you tap into a few things from the playbook? Yes. Can you do it all? No. Do I want you to do it all? No.
Yeah.
And I think that's the acceptance that you and I have come to,
Yeah.
because I know you were looking at a bunch of courses to do, and I also want you to be a child in summer.
And that's the thing is like with when kids are telling me like their parents are making them do like 24/7 studying, I'm like, that's like impossible for anyone to do. Like you could put so much time into something, but I think what for me this podcast was really about was it's also fun to just do, Like we're talking about something and we're actually making a difference, and we're just like talking about things that we normally do talk about because that's just kind of our dynamic. But I think that's great for like parents like you who are actually like it's good for our emotional well-being, I would say.
I mean, it's huge because again, like you saw me. I mean, from what to what life has become, right? And the thing that I think I'm most proud about is that I have the resilience and the mental strength to get over anything. Because at the end of the day, I know that eventually I'm going to come back to myself. I'm going to come back to a few core things about me, which is I know how to hard work. Like there is hard work in me, right?
Yeah.
I'm able to overcome challenges. I'm able to sort of talk to people, learn. More than anything, it's keeping your learning brain on.
Yeah.
I'll always be ready to learn.
Yeah, and the one thing I do want to mention is that when my friends first saw you, they were like, "Wow, like she's just kind of like one of us." Like they like how you don't push me towards my limit, but you teach me every time. Like you're teaching me constantly, and you're not super pushing. I think the one thing about me is that like for my academics, the reason I kind of have been always the thing that made me want to have all perfect grades is because you never pressured me to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it feels like I already kind of have the pressure already kind of built inside of me because I like want want to do that even though you're not trying to pressure me into it. It just kind of like now it's naturally there because that's how I'm going to have to adapt later in life.
Yeah.
So that's
and I think whether you go into working world or you become a mom one day, you have a family of your own, any amount of pressure and stress should teach you one thing, is that nothing is so bad that you can not come back to yourself.
Yeah, and again, that's another thing that I learned from the move and from everything going on without toasting for.
I mean, I did learn this much later in life. That self-love is something that is already there. You just have to show it to yourself and not forget that it exists, and you're able to actually, come back to yourself no matter what.
Yeah.
And I like that your friends like me, okay? It's important that I'm friends with your friends.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so now what's the one thing you want to be more honest about moving forward?
One thing I want
Like in this platform, like what is one thing you want to make sure that we're not forgetting and that we're always tapping into that honesty?
I think just keeping it real.
Yeah.
I think sugarcoating everything is like not a good like that's just not reality. And I think that's what we're here to display is how we are going to talk about these difficult topics with an open mind and like sharing our opinions because it can be like really vulnerable to share these kinds of things online even, and I think that that's just what we're trying to do. We're trying to be more open and honest with about everything that we're going to be talking about.
So what are we going to do one thing differently, you think?
One thing differently?
Should we try to be more consistent with our episodes?
Yeah, I think that's something that I'm definitely have to like work on. Yeah, being more consistent with things because even though something sets you back, I mean, there's you can move forward. You should try and
Yeah.
grow. And I think for this podcast, we definitely want to be more consistent and not just like pressuring ourselves into like, oh, we must film this day, we must film this day, because otherwise the views and likes will be gone. But I do think that if we are consistently posting with purpose, then I think
So, what new topics are you most excited about?
I think things like what I could be dealing with right now, like mental health for teens, school pressure, like with academics and grades and having to keep up that balance, friendships, identity, like all those kinds of things are things that
I think one of the things I want to really talk about is sisterly bond.
Oh, sure. Never thought about that one.
And I want to know how that's going in every household.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that could work. That could be a good idea.
We wake up to yelling and screaming. We go back to bed yelling and screaming. It's
Yeah,
real.
that needs an episode for itself.
That's where my mental health is being challenged, guys.
Yeah.
Save me.
No. Okay.
Okay. If you were to describe our new direction in one word, what would that be?
I would say intentional. Because everything we do, like I've said this word a lot throughout the episode, is
Yeah.
we want to show our purpose, And I think that's one thing that we're going to push into our new direction. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So what is something we're doing differently? So I think you mentioned earlier.
I think, yeah, like bringing in more guests.
Yeah, okay.
Or friends even.
Yeah.
Showing that people are listening to the podcast and are actually interested in showing their voice as well. I think that's gonna be really good to take us newer and the new direction.
So when we invite people, it requires a lot more planning.
Yeah.
Which is like we can't say, oh, we can't do it today, or we are, you have varsity, or you have an IB Chem exam coming up, or you have something else, because we have to respect somebody's time. We have to respect, that energy and presence they bring. We want to obviously honor that, and of course whoever we pick is gonna come with this abundant knowledge that we are looking forward to, that we want people of your age group or of my age group to listen to and sort of support us, and then also inspire us more, right? All right, your turn.
So, what's something about this podcast that you're grateful for, like doing it with me and stuff?
One, I think in a few years you're going to be gone. So every moment I get with you is super important. I also think 11th grade, I'm not going to see you much because I already don't see you a lot. I have to come into your room and nag you or bug you and be like, what are you doing? And then you look at me like, why are you here? Like, what do you need?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I just want to check in on you and be like, how you doing? Because I think time goes fast, and 11th grade is going to go fast, and then 12th grade is going to go fast. And once you get your driver's license, which by the way, she passed the theory, the knowledge test, and now she's to do the actual driving test. Once you get a car, once you're independent, and that the word literally describes it, I will not see you much.
Yeah.
And that's an acceptance I've had,
Yeah.
or at least I'm coming to terms with. And so that, I think, that sort of future of what is gonna happen makes me sort of want to be thankful for the time we have today. And also, I think the more we talk about the emotional maturity and the EQ side of things, I will feel a lot more trust, and I would say peace of mind that you're going to go into the world being just.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, like, this, like, the time that we podcast together will help me understand how to come back to this calm mental space that we're in if I ever get sidetracked or anything like that. So that brings me to my next question, which is like, what's something that you've seen in me that you've been proud of lately, and I'll do the same for you?
Something in you. I think you're very patient. You're very giving. And so I think the thing we talked about earlier is that there were people that were misusing that about you, and so you set them straight, and that was without my interference, in it. You yourself, in fact, when you told me what had happened, my jaw dropped that you stood up for yourself. So and I was like, wait, you said that? Like, wait, you did that? So I think for me, I think you've grown already.
Yeah.
You know, you can see the difference between the right and wrong. You also know who to be patient with, who to trust, and also like you now see the subtle signs of when someone's trying to manipulate you with a different situation. So if anything that has come out of our conversations or this podcast or the topics or who we meet and how we talk about it or anything I've taught you is that I can now breathe a
Yeah.
sigh of relief here because, yeah, you know how to stand up for yourself.
Yeah. I would say like literally all the same for you about giving and being generous and being patient. I think you've dealt with the chaos a lot and you're a single mom, so you're kind of like not alone, but you're alone.
Yeah.
When we're gone. And like you've handled that really well, I think. So that's something I'm proud
Thank
of.
you.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah. Another question that I want to bring this to is what do you think makes our dynamic special?
We're just cool together, you know?
Yeah,
We're
honest.
we're cool, and I think because we communicate so much, honestly,
Yeah.
like I think the honest communication is what makes our relationship very friendly.
Yeah.
I will, and like like your friends say that I am like you guys, but when I need to be a mom, I will be a mom, right? And so I don't see that I need to be a mom at all times. I think I can loosen up a bit too, but and I think that's a very, I would say, very mindful thing that I have done. I am not trying to be a friend. At the same time, I think our relationship has evolved into that. And you and G are like my best friends. I mean, you know, for life. And
Yeah.
no matter what, I'll always be your mom. And no matter what, you'll always be my daughters.
Yeah.
And one thing I'll say is that you both, and especially you accept when I actually say something, meaning like if it's wrong, then you'll accept like, yeah, okay, that is wrong. And you'll see that side, right? I'm not gonna just say it's wrong to just say it.
Yeah.
But also that I can be that honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to walk on eggshells and
Yeah.
think that my teenage daughter is going to have a complete meltdown or
Yeah.
she's going to blow up on me or have this emotional dysregulation of some sort.
Yeah.
For me, I can go in with ease and say, you know what, Yana, I think that was not the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And then I also tell you this when you're trying to overburden yourself with a lot of things that, a jack of all and master of none.
Yeah.
I always say this to you. Why? Because I feel like anytime you go in life and you start like over adding things to your plate or your cup rather, you can now sit back and analyze which one of this am I going to master? And is everything else just as important?
Yeah.
And if it's not, now you will always remember my teachings like, nope, just shove the rest to the corner and focus on that one thing.
Yeah.
And that one thing that you focus on has to be your purpose driven, I would say, path and also that you never you never hurt someone or wrong someone in that path.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that dynamic between you and me is very clear. And I think you and I have that understanding that we're very much the same people.
Yeah.
And I think that's because we talk so much.
Yeah.
And that I understand your perspective and you understand mine.
Yeah.
Next question.
So, bringing us to our closing, what's your message to anyone who's going through a season of change? Like the one that we kind of went through. Like if there was one kind of rundown sentence that you had to give.
This is a hard one, but I'll say patience.
Okay.
I would say that no matter what, be patient enough to understand that there is divine timing in things. That if somebody has wronged you, hurt you, or things haven't gone your way, it's not it's not the end of the world, and two, you will come out of it as long as you have the mental strength, you have the resilience and the strength to get out of it and come to the other side, knowing and very well accepting that whatever happened happened, and acceptance is huge. So you have a second path.
Mhm.
There's never one path.
Yeah.
And I think that to me is the biggest lesson I learned. Was I was so, what they call this, tunnel vision,
Mhm.
that I never saw path outside of what was happening, right?
Yeah.
But then when I stepped out of that tunnel vision and sort of saw a life where I was meeting inspiring women, I was collaborating with women that were here for the same purpose,
Mhm.
that sort of energized me and gave me this faith and belief that, you know what, just because of a few bad people,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that the entire world is that the
Yeah.
same way, and we
Yeah.
can learn from today what's happening in the world, right?
Yeah.
That teaches you so much, that it doesn't matter. There are people doing that have the same heart as you, and they're
Mhm.
trying to help the other
Mhm.
person and try to, make sure that they don't drown or suffer, and they're doing their best to give back to the community, give back to the world. And I
Yeah.
think this platform should be exactly that too.
Yeah, and if I could set like one intention for like coming in these coming episodes, it'd be to like show more authenticity
Yeah.
and just be more real and honest. And like even if there are hard days, just like being able to like understand that you're having a bad day, and then despite that going through and like continuing to push through, that's where the effort comes in. And
Yeah. And
yeah.
also, one more thing I will add here is, you said something about authenticity. For me, it's also like, if you're not honest with yourself, like, you're just gonna struggle. You're gonna keep lying to yourself, and maybe life is great for you that way, but eventually I think you're gonna burn out, and you're just not gonna find the right people and the path and how life is meant to be.
Yeah. And one last question
Mm.
is, what do you want to say to people who have stuck around for you during these times? Like,
Oh, I love you guys.
yeah.
I think you guys are my ride or die.
Yeah.
Those are the people that can take every emotion of mine,
Yeah.
and they can actually, if they don't have anything to say, then they'll just sit with me and sort of let me be, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's important. And I'll say, with the move alone, right? Like you said, I'm a single mom trying to do it all. No, I had my village of people that came in and just was like, they were like, what do you need right now? And I cannot tell you how many people did that,
Mhm.
whether they're my closest friends or they're just people who found out I was moving. They're like, hey, let's grab lunch. Like, tell me how you're feeling. How are your emotions around this time? Even now that we closed, right? The household, and
Yeah.
we're like, okay, how do we feel? How do I feel? And
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
feel great. I feel heavy,
Yeah.
but there was other people that sat
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah, same. I had people asking me like how I
Yeah.
felt, how was you doing with the movie? And yeah, it was good to know that people actually cared and
Yeah.
So we also just want to thank you guys for being very patient. Like we kind of had to stop a little bit, and now we're back.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
we're back better than ever.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of concludes everything.
Awesome. So we'll keep you posted on more episodes, more topics. We'll once in a while we'll post shorts or reels and tell you what's coming up and then what you should look forward to. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you.